Okay. Good evening, everybody, and I would like to call together to order our May 24th, 2021 Parks and Recreations meeting. And at this time, everyone would please stand for our pledge to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty, justice for all. Okay, thank you. Director Alvarado Crawford, can we have a roll call, please?
Sure. Chair Bowles,
Present.
Vice Chair Caldado,
Unmute Johnny.
I swear I saw him. There.
It's down there muted. Oh.
Okay. Commissioner Alcorn?
Present. Here.
Commissioner Cohen?
Here.
Commissioner Crawford?
I'm here.
All right. Commissioner Diaz, there she is. She's coming in. Commissioner Diaz?
Here.
All right. Commissioner Goodman said she would not be able to attend. Commissioner Martinez? I didn't hear anything from him. Commissioner Lamort?
Here.
And Commissioner Moralia?
Present.
Could we have a reporting of the posting of the agenda?
The posting of the agenda was done prior to Wednesday, May 15th before 5 p.m. in accordance to the city's policies and procedures on the city website, the Leisure Center, and City Hall.
Thank you. Okay, we next are moving into approve minutes. We have two sets of minutes to approve for this meeting. One from our Saturday workshop that we did on April 24th. Now we had 3 people absent that will have to abstain, but is there any additions, changes, or corrections to the April 24th Saturday meeting? Is there a motion that we approve the meeting as minutes as printed?
So moved.
So moved by Jody Diaz, seconded by Commissioner Cohen right above. All in favor? Right hand.
Aye.
Opposed? Is that opposed? Or you just didn't get your hand down, John? We'll say that that was all in favor. Okay, our second one we have is our Monday, April 26th regular meeting. Are there any additions, changes, corrections to the minutes that were presented? Can I have another motion of approval if there is none?
I'll move to approve.
Commissioner Mort has moved, and a second by Commissioner Cohen, and all in favor? All opposed?
Aye.
And abstains. Okay, with the minutes out of the way, we next move on to correspondence. Do we have any correspondence, Director?
We do. We received 2 emails over today and the weekend. One was from Mr. Tom Dole, and I'm going to read it quickly to you. First, I want to thank the Parks and Rec Commission and the city staff for keeping the swim center open and safe for the past 10 months. The pool has been a lifeline to many of us in Palm Springs, helping us get through this difficult time by being a resource for safe exercise and psych renewal. I hope that the swim center can return to full operation as soon as it's deemed safe. It is the only public lap swimming pool in Palm Springs, the city of 2,000 pools. I came to the commission before the pandemic to voice my concern for the visibility and public awareness of the swim center. There is inadequate signage and the center is located at the end of the hidden road along with the pavilion, parks office, and the skate park. Many residents who don't have exposure through their kids have no idea the swim center exists. It is essential at the first class facility, which is one of the most expensive facilities to run and maintain, has continued public support to keep it fully funded and operational in good times and bad. It is also overlooked as a resource for eco-tourists and swim enthusiasts who visit our city due to the lack of visibility. As a decision moves to the renovation and perhaps re-imaging of Sunrise Park, it's important to consider being given to the visibility and overall branding of the swim center. It's architecturally significant, being designed by the last living mid-century architect Hugh Captor, and has great potential to be a location for imaginative public art and sensitive signage. The swim center is and deserves to be the jewel of Sunset Park. Thank you, Tom Dole. The other was from Mr. Carl Baker, who's actually on the line. Mr. Baker, would you like to make your comment, or do you want me to read your email?
I'll make my comment. Yeah, it's the same comment I've had for a year regarding the swim center and the inability of people who work 9 to 5 to use it at all. I've asked you again for a year to at least consider changing 1 or 2 days where the swim center could open a few hours later to accommodate people who don't get off work until 5 o'clock, to no avail. So I'm asking you once again to look to those of us who work, as the city has stated, moving all of our meetings to a 5:30 start to make it more participation for those of us who do work to do things. But that's fallen on deaf ears to the Parks and Rec Commission regarding the swim center hours.
Thank you.
And also I'm a member of the Sustainability Commission. I'm supposed to say that first.
Is that all there are for your correspondence, Director?
Yes.
The comments will be taken into for future agenda items. We can't discuss anything. Of course, it's not on the agenda and we aren't to our, we're up to that now, and I'll just read to you. This time has been set aside for members of the public to address the Parks and Recreations Commission on agenda items and items of general interest within the subject matter jurisdiction of our commission. Although the commission values your opinion and your options and comments, pursuant to the Brown Act, it's not cannot take any action on items not listed on the posted agenda. I have 3 minutes set aside for anyone who would like to speak at this point in our public comments. I see several unfamiliar faces. They're familiar faces, but not members. So does anyone else have something they'd like to speak at this time?
If you don't mind, I'd like to just make a comment.
Who is saying that?
It's Marty Danielson.
Oh, I'm sorry. I couldn't find you there. Go ahead.
Up at the top. Okay?
Go ahead, Marty.
Okay, thanks. As I said, I'm on the board of Sunrise Park. And when Steve mentions the swim center and Hugh Captor, I have Hugh Captor's family home on Belding Drive and have been very involved with PS Modcom. But when he approached me to talk about Sunrise Park, obviously we have an invested interest of what's happening, and we're very excited with the library reopening and College of the Desert coming in. We have a large area and a large and very interesting group of people as well as homes. So our focus is obviously going to be looking at what we can do to not only improve the quality and the recreational capabilities of Sunrise Park, but also whatever other parks in the city. And I just wanted to say to you, Steve Kenlon is kind of really a neat guy. You know, he's doing Destination Palm Springs, all the creativity, and he's taken their products and he's got museums now all over the country. He's very involved in Modernism Week. And so we're both New Yorkers, as you can probably tell. And so we have a clear idea of what kinds of things we'd like to talk about from not only Sunrise Park's point of view, but also from the general park system within the city. And all I would like to do, and I've talked to Kathy Cohen, who's the head of our board as well as she was the head of 1PS, about this, and she's very enthusiastic to say to you all that we are offering not only our interest, but also anything that we can do to create an environment. And that includes some of the things that I would be used to because I come out of the marketing, advertising, and merchandising field, to make things more interesting, exciting, and usable for the park. That's my statement.
I thank you very much for that, Marty. Do we have comments from anyone else from the public? If not, we will close. I'm sorry, Tom?
Yeah, I'm
Go ahead.
Tom Gall. I was the first letter that Cynthia read. I sent that in earlier. I just wanted to add to the comments that I had submitted some concepts for signage for the swim center and the whole entrance to the swim center area last year or a year and a half ago when we started talking about this. So I think it is in talking about the redesign or reconfiguring of Sunset Park, or Sunrise Park, I'm sorry, it's just really important to consider signage to get people to understand what the swim center and the other facilities where the swim center is, where it is, what it is, and really kind of brand it. So that's my comment. Thank you.
Thank you very much. As we can't make comments, I will tell everybody, things move very slow when you're working with the government, but we're making sure that everything is done right. A lot of things are happening, and we'll be addressing those. You'll be hearing about them as we move forward. Are there any other public comments? Not, I would like to move on to our city manager comments and welcome our new city manager, Justin Clifton.
Thank you very much for having me. I don't have a lot to say this evening. I just want to firstly say thank you for the work that you're doing, both just in general because I have a passion for public service, but also because my young family has been enjoying some of the parks and recreation amenities. They've been engaging in some of the facilities. My two kids will be in camps later this summer. They've had a blast meeting some of the recreation team and just getting out there and starting to see all the different things that the city has to offer. So I really appreciate all the collaboration that happens between the commission and especially at the staff level to make all that happen. You know that we've opened facilities at Parks and Recreation. I want to thank Cynthia and her team also for making that happen and let you know that we are in the process of opening up other city facilities. We're aiming really for next week to open up most of our others. That's pending just a couple last minute details on protocols and things like that. We're trying to defer to the state and be consistent with the state and other agencies with respect to not only providing public access, but some of the health protocols that I know people will be expecting. So you should have most of your services back across the spectrum of city facilities very soon. So I want to thank everybody for patience as we've been in this really tough situation, but I know everyone's excited to see people at the counter again. And then I think one of the last things that will happen is moving some of these types of meetings, commissions, and council back to public. We're waiting to see the governor's release some information on what we think is going to be his adjustment on June 15th. And insofar as that really allows more open-ended public events indoors, we will likely open the door to return some of these meetings to in-person. Those are kind of the last of the list of things we want to open up, in part because you never know how much public participation you're going to get, right? And so where we can kind of monitor things like the activity at the front counter, it's a little different, especially with, say, a city council meeting where we might have something more worthy of public debate or discussion that we could get a lot of people. And we want to make sure that we're doing that safely and that once we start to open that door, we can leave that door hopefully open. So that'll be coming too, but just understand that that will probably be even a little later than opening up our facilities. But over the next couple months, we'll have those conversations. And if you have any feedback along those lines, please send it along. And other than that, I can answer questions if anyone has them.
Do we have any questions for our city manager from any of our commissioners? For those of you who are guests, I'm looking very much forward to us getting back live in a conference room, because this is very difficult to watch a meeting and keep things going when you're on Zoom. But it's worked for us, and it's been better than nothing.
So
We have
I'm gonna sit in on the rest of the meeting, but I'm gonna turn my screen off so that nobody sees me shuffling around and multitasking as I'm listening to you guys work. But I am here if you need me, if there are any other questions.
We'll holler your name out if we have another question. Thank you again. With that behind us, let's move on to our staff updates. And do I see a smiling face behind the facilities phone, or is that someone I don't know? Stacy?
Good afternoon. I am here, smiling.
Hi
of
there.
course. So my big update actually.
Would you like to honor us with a?
My big update today is the Justin, our city manager, approved an emergency light repair for the Demuth Park Ballfield lightings, fields 5, 7, and 8. We were finally able to narrow that down and identify the failures, the wiring, and we're gonna have to replace all those fixtures. So that's gonna happen quickly on an emergency basis. So hoping to have all those ball fields up and running and functional, fully functional within the next few weeks. Beyond that, we're finalizing the overseeding schedule. Right now, you probably see a little bit of the air, we're aerating in a few areas. We're trying to avoid where the red ant treatments are taking place, or there'll be a handful of notices going out related to that. And I think Dawn probably has a better update, but Sunrise, I was working with them a little bit. The Sunrise Restrooms renovation is moving right along, and that's really the big updates I have.
Very good. Does anyone have questions of Director Schaefer?
I do. Stacy, it's Johnny Coldonado.
Hi, Johnny.
Hey, thank you for getting that worked out. Is there a way you can shoot me an email? Because I run a couple leagues out there, and if you can just let us know when we have the green light, especially on field 7, that'd be awesome.
As soon as I have confirmation of a schedule, I'll share that with Cynthia, and I'm sure she'll pass it along.
Perfect. Perfect. Thank you so much on that.
No problem.
Any other questions for Director Schaefer? Stacy, thank you so much for giving us an update. Looks like we're going to move on to our next director, Director Alvarado Crawford.
All right, so our programming is still going well. As you know, the facilities opened up on, what day was it? I think it was the 12th. So we've been open for over a week now. And things are back in, some things are back in place via reservation system for now. Obviously, as we prepare for the June 15th opening with the state more, we will continue to adjust things safely for our community so that we can offer more programming. So we are working diligently on that. Summer camp registration has opened up. I emailed out flyers to the commission along with the sponsorship flyer. So just so you know, the summer camp dates will be June 14th through July 30th. It will be a 7-week summer camp. Summer camps will be located at James O. Jesse, grades 1st through 6th. At the Leisure Center, grades 1st through 8th, and Demuth Community Center will have the little guys, ages 3 to 5. Unfortunately, because of COVID, there weren't many grants that we were able to apply for to secure some sponsorship dollars. So at this point, we're kind of turning to our friends and supporters of Parks and Rec via social media to secure some dollars to be able to send some kids to camp. And then we are working on the opening day celebration for camp. So once we have something solidified, I will send that information out to the commission. Normally we have a few that are able to attend if their schedule is free. So I should have more of that finalized information by the end of the week so that hopefully some of you can attend and help us with celebrating our littles back. Our sports fields are being programmed. Stacy just said that the lights are going to be fixed soon, so that will definitely help us with some of our programming. But we do have soccer, football, and lots of softball and baseball going on. We will be updating some of the programming for the pool. Unfortunately, at this time, we still aren't in the capacity to be able to extend the hours just yet. We do have some staffing situations that we need to be able to remedy. So we will work on that. We are working with the tribe for Native American Heritage Month in November. They are going to be taking the social media calendar to the tribal council for approval. So once we have that finalized and prepared, we will bring it back to just show you what work has been done. We've been working with the tribe and Commissioner Goodman and Commissioner Armstrong on this venture, and it's been pretty exciting and definitely very educational for us. Our 4th of July, we've had to do some reprogramming because the fireworks were not approved to move forward with. So we are working on some programming for Sunrise Park. We will have our normally scheduled pool party as we have in the past. We are working on doing a Don't Touch a Truck portion of programming. DJs, having some vendors there for activities and food, and then we'll end the day with a movie in the park at sunrise. And then for Ruth Hardy Park, we are working on doing a concert, having some food and activity vendors, and still working on trying to see if we're going to be able to do a laser show or not. I don't have confirmation on that just yet, but we are trying. And then for Victoria Park, we are planning on doing a water day play there in the early parts of the day. And so once I get these flyers back, we will get them out to you so you can help us get the word out. And we will be doing some massive advertising through our social media outlets and with Amy's help as well. Those are my department updates.
Thank you, Director. I've got to say that your creativity and grasp of new ideas are always exciting to hear. I think we're going to pull it off, and everyone's going to be pleased with your 4th of July
I hope
festivities.
so. I hope so.
Are there any questions for Director Alvarado on her staff update? Commissioner Crawford, I see your hand.
Yeah, hi. Cynthia, my question is about the summer jobs program that we discussed a few meetings ago and also at the retreat. I was informed by Miss Ann Collins, one of our longtime associates at James O. Jesse, that there's going to be Camp Palm Springs temporary job opportunities for young adults. Could you explain a little bit more about that?
Yeah, so every year when it comes to summer camp, because of the numbers that we get for all of our facilities, we end up going out and hiring temp staff. And so that process has already started and finished. The information was sent out through, we hire through Proper Solutions, which is the temp agency. I know Jarvis and Ann did a lot of outreach with the community and getting that information out. And they all partook in doing the interviews and the selection for the 3 camps. So that information was sent in today to do the initial hiring offers to those that were selected for the camps.
My question, did we not know that existed last month? Because
You called it job training, and that's not what we call it. We call it summer camp temp staff. So that was the confusion, Dieter. It's not that we just weren't speaking the same language, unfortunately, but we're here now.
It's a little too late, but okay.
Are there any other questions for the director?
Cynthia, what was the turnout in terms of
a question.
applicants for that?
We ended up seeing over, I want to say 25 youth.
we had someone walking over what you were asking. Your question was how many were
Oh,
applied for the
I was
job?
I was asking how many applicants you had, and is that for both programs or no?
yes, so when we do the recruiting, it is for all of the sites that we will be offering camp at. And so the camp directors, which is Miss Ann and Rosa, they take care of the hiring and the selection, and they move that forward.
One other staff update that she has to tell everybody is she
Oh,
does have a full-time senior secretary.
My senior secretary is back and in full effect, and she will be helping take care of all of the secretarial business that I am not very good at. So
And we all welcome Janet back.
I have a question. This is Travis. You hear me?
Yes, Travis. Yes.
The swim center seems to be a topic of conversation. I wasn't clear if the one Mr. Baker speaker was saying that he was representing the Sustainability Commission, or he's just a member on it, and talking about, you know, the commission not hearing about later hours. I don't remember us ever getting that. But my question about the swim center is there much, and we had this other speaker talk about, you know, more advertising. How much capacity is left at the center? I mean, can we handle a bunch more people if there was more outreach, or is it at a capacity level?
So
I can't handle more.
Commissioner Armstrong, where we're at right now with our reservation system, we are technically at capacity, but as we move forward to the June 15th opening, we're going to rearrange some things to be able to accommodate more. We are aware that several of our swimmers enjoy the reservation system and want to be able to accommodate that, but we're also aware that there's several who also want to be able to drop in and swim for longer periods of time. So we're trying to create this hybrid programming for it so we can accommodate both. At this time though, the programming time will remain 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. because of staffing issues.
Thank you.
Commissioner Armstrong did ask a question, was Mr. Baker speaking on behalf of the Sustainability Commission or on behalf of Carl Baker for our minutes? Perhaps we won't know. I was confused and I thought that's what Commissioner Armstrong was asking.
Right. That was one. I mean, if this was an official request from the Sustainability Commission, I think that would be something we'd want to, you know, elevate. But it was unclear from how he was speaking if he was actually talking, you know, for them or not.
Maybe we can get that later for our minutes because that.
Alan, did you want me to address that question?
Yes, Carl. I'm sorry.
No, I was just introducing myself as a member of a commission. Typically, whenever commission members call in other commissions, we introduce ourselves as a commission member. That's all.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions at this point on our staff updates? If not, we'll move on to the man in the middle there with all the information on the project updates. Welcome, Don.
Alan, can I interrupt?
You sure may.
I apologize. I was actually tasked at the Measure J Commission with asking for someone from Parks and Rec or a body of the Parks and Recreation Commission to potentially attend and make some recommendations to Measure J for upcoming projects.
Parks project.
Yep.
For the next meeting?
Yeah, well, they were just saying that right now they were doing some forecasting and they thought it would be good. They thought they used to have a liaison, but they weren't sure. And I volunteered to relay that information along.
Appreciate that. We just had our meeting, our Saturday retreat, where we kind of outlined some of the things, and we're just getting started to put together to go to Measure J what we want to. If they have any money, we'll always take it.
Well, they're looking forward to hearing from you.
Okay, thank you. And now we can move to Don, the man that spends all of our money.
Good afternoon, commissioners. So this is our project update for the various projects that are kind of in construction. So for the gym floor replacement at James O'Jesse Park, the contractor is scheduled to start next Tuesday, June 1st. For the acoustics at the pavilion, the audio equipment has been selected and we will bring forward the contract to City Council for the second meeting in June. Shade structures, the contractor is still scheduled to install the new structures in July. They got an update material delivery date or an update from the materials supplier, and they expect the materials to be delivered to Palm Springs the week of June 28th. So sometime during that week, they will receive all the shade structures and the fabric and all that kind of stuff. So it's consistent with the July installation date. Regarding the playground surfacing, the final contracts is going back and forth with the contractor, but we fully intend to go to City Council to approve those contracts again on June 24th. We are getting those materials through a cooperative purchasing program. So those are really good news that things are moving forward. We talked a little bit already about the Ballfield lighting project. Our consultant has already started the design. Last week, they flew some drones over Demuth Park as well as the stadium in Sunrise Park. So they got all their survey data and the videos to assess the conditions of all the facilities for the Ballfield light replacement project. Regarding Sunrise Park, we also talked a little bit about that. The contractor did start a couple of weeks ago. They've done the demolition and they are working on the foundation this week. So that is moving quite along pretty quickly. Demuth Park and Desert Highland Park restrooms, final set of plans have been received from our architect. We are furiously putting together the project so it can go out to bid in about 2 weeks. The Demuth Community Center HVAC, I know I gave you some weird news last week. I think that was a misunderstanding. It was pretty much resolved the day after I spoke with you guys. So the plans are currently in the building department. They're going back and forth with their plan check comments. But the project is proceeding along as planned. So that's another piece of good news for the AC at the Demuth Community Center. Regarding Downtown Park, the contractor continues to work furiously. They're working on sidewalks, sitting areas, lighting, irrigation, some water feature items, and then all of the various planning materials. The contractor says that they will be substantially complete at the end of July. So that's the current update that I have for you. And if you have any questions, I'm here to answer whatever I can.
Commissioner Moore, go ahead.
I have a question. Did we decide on what color the bathrooms are going to be?
Pink.
We did.
Pink?
I just can't remember on the top of my head.
So was it Sunrise? Sunrise is the bathrooms we were talking about for color selection was at James O'Jesse, correct?
And the color palette we said
Color was blue?
blue.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a shade of blue. Yes. We have selected.
The other two I don't think have been selected or
And I felt like we said blue for one and purple for the other for was a compromise or something like that. But that might have just been a joke we were running. I don't know.
We do have time for the other two. So that decision doesn't have to come right away, but.
no. The Sunrise is already decided, isn't it?
Yes.
So, and now we have decided on Highland. The next one to be decided on would be Demuth.
Demuth,
correct?
Correct.
Pink.
And restroom committee will get our color swatches and vote again when we come up to that one. Any other question? I guess I'll ask, Don, do you have any input as to the unveiling of a statue that's mysteriously going to appear someday?
I have no update on the statue, unfortunately. I know exactly what you know. I read it in the papers like you do.
Yes. Are there any other questions for Don on our projects that we have going? We have a lot of projects going. Yes, I heard that bathroom went down at Sunrise a couple weeks ago, like a deck of cards. And we're anxious to see that get completed, and several other projects.
I have a picture if you would like to see.
Sure.
Okay, let me zoom it in. And let me share because I love sharing. All right, can you guys see that?
Oh.
So that's where it's at right now.
We have a bathroom already. So the entire foundation is coming out, and all new foundation is what you say, Don?
They're working on the foundation. They're just modifying they're using a lot of the existing foundation, and then they're just doing some tweaks to make it all work. So
between that, the acoustics, the sound system, the outside of the pavilion, the shade, and the gym floor and the air conditioning, I think we're going to get to see a lot, and we'll keep up with you as you bring us up to date each month.
Yep.
Are there any other questions then for Don? If not, I would like to ask that we go back to our director on project updates. No, I'm sorry, on discussion on our COVID updates. If we have anything unusual and unique, we have to keep up with. Thank you, Don.
So for our COVID updates, currently we're open for a 25% capacity. We are allowing facility and park rentals, but it's following the guidelines from the state that are in place. So you should start seeing a lot more activity in our parks with family-friendly birthday parties and whatnot. And then we are planning and moving forward with in-person summer camp and exciting times. So those are my updates.
Any questions on the updates that we have going? Okay, our next section on our discussion and action items is our park naming policy staff report and verbal report. I think most of you just got the staff report this afternoon. It was a mistake, didn't get there, but I'm going to turn it to the director who has produced this and talk with people and have her inform us where we're at.
All right, so yes, my apologies. I thought it made it to as part of the attachments that I sent. I think I ran into some confusion because we had two sets of meeting minutes for April. So I have put together the staff draft report for council to consider and review the policy naming draft that the subcommittee had put together for review and recommendation of how to go about naming park facilities. So the staff report really covers the process of what this policy that we have put together and are moving forward will look like, so that it can be definitely more inclusive of not just the neighborhood groups in the area that it's going to affect, but also go through the commission and then move forward to council for final approval. There's been no updates to the policy draft. I'm having Janet work on just formatting it a little bit better so it's a little more in line. But that is essentially what this draft report for council is and looks like. I'm not sure if it'll necessarily make it to the June 10th agenda. It seems like the June 10th meeting is pretty booked and heavy, but I will do my best to make sure it's on there. If for some reason it doesn't make it on there, I will obviously let you know. for what date it will be slated to go before for new business and discussion, so that you're aware. Any questions, comments, concerns?
When our report, or when it does go before council, should the subcommittee or some members of our subcommittee try to be there to answer questions for them? Or do you, have you had?
Yeah, absolutely. Somebody can definitely be on call and represent the subcommittee and the commission. If not available for questions, definitely the commission can select somebody to speak on behalf of the commission, or send an email.
Does anyone have any other questions or anything? Have they gone over the policy naming? Any more suggestions or background of what we should have done with that? I thought it was an excellent job that has been put together so far. Do you also want to give them a little bit of the history of this other proposal that's out there on the naming, that so there's confusion?
Sure. So as we were originally looking into this, I was working with the city clerk's office to see if there was something in place already that we could look at. And unfortunately, at the time, I wasn't able to locate anything through the city clerk's office. As you know, at a council meeting, some meetings back, there was a resolution that was brought forward that was created back in 2009, where it identifies a subcommittee being created with the following participants for park naming, which was a representative from the Parks and Rec Commission, the Arts Commission, the Library Board, and Sustainability Commission. And this resolution was presented when it came to the naming of the dog park for Dr. Reddy. I know Travis called in, but like I said, unfortunately, while I was working with the city clerk's office, they weren't able to locate that resolution that was already in place. So I did let Justin know that following Monday that the commission had been working diligently on putting together a draft policy for this, and that they were still very interested in moving the work that they had done forward because it was more detailed, and had a little more participation from a bunch of different areas in order to, get something named or renamed. So he knows that this is moving forward for review.
Thank you. Commissioner Diaz, you had your hand up at the beginning of this. Did you have a question?
I was just, I saw the date on the naming document for 2009, and I think you just kind of, tried to address the confusion I had. So I'm good. Thank you.
Commissioner Cohen.
I would just say that the Director Alvarado, you can kind of confirm this, but if you read through the very short other city code from 2009, it was really the way for the city to put together very briefly a way for multidisciplinary kind of a cross section of the city to go and solicit donations from entities, particularly businesses, to support certain things. So it really was not a naming ordinance, and certainly not as comprehensive or as thought out. It's very short, doesn't really cover much, and is really a way for the city to be proactively asking for donations. I think it's a very different animal.
Thank you for that.
Do the commission want to select a representative to speak on this item when it does move forward?
This is Trev. I have another comment before you pick somebody to do that, if I may.
Go ahead.
Can you hear me? I want to thank the subcommittee for its work on this. I mean, I hope the work is something that actually the council will listen to. I mean, obviously they did recently completely disregard the commission and bypass the commission to name it after a former employee of the city. And I do wonder, you know, if our guidelines for the city need some kind of protections or ethical code or some conflict of interest. I mean, this is the second time that the city has taken an employee or an ex-employee and named a public space after them. You know, there's a Memorial Garden after somebody as well. And it seems to be that there's a separate process for naming city spaces after people who worked for the city government. It seems like there's an ethical issue there. And then just, you know, just because this meeting is recorded and memorialized, just, you know, again, the mayor and the city council completely ignored the Parks and Recreation Commission to name this dog park after somebody who, you know, it may not popular to say, but is very unpopular in many parts of the city. And we went ahead with no discussion. The staff was very, you know, had a conflict of interest as well by pushing this. I mean, I spoke at that meeting, and the only comment, because it was on the consent agenda, was from a city staffer promoting this idea, completely compromised individual in terms of conflict of interest. Thank you.
Thank you, Trev. Commissioner Armstrong. Do we have any other input there as to Commissioner Crawford?
Yeah, just want to echo what Travis is saying. No need to repeat the same thing, but I just agree, like he's saying, we were pretty much overlooked, and that's all I got.
Thank you. If we get to the June meeting, could we ask the subcommittee that put that together to be available? That would be Commissioner Cohen, Commissioner Crawford, Commissioner Diaz. Were you on that? And Caldonado.
Chair
Could
Boley,
we ask?
I was going to say I'm always happy to help, but I believe my term as a commissioner will have expired by then.
It expires the end of June.
Okay.
So you have 1 month.
You can call in as a resident.
I certainly can do that. I just wanted to make sure that I was going to be representing.
Okay.
So yes, I'd be happy to work either however they're doing it, call in, Zoom in, do whatever's necessary. And if
Because I know the last time it was standby.
If my fellow committee members would join, that would be great. Subcommittee members.
Let's see, that was Johnny, Dieter, and David.
David, I'll try and join you if I can. Sounds
just
good.
The three, right?
That'd be great, Johnny. And Dieter, if you're free and are able to, that'd be great if you could too.
We'll leave it at that for this point, and if they get it on their June meeting, normally it's standby. If they have questions, they call, but it's not a bad decision to sometimes speak at public comment on items that are on the agenda to try to persuade them to look at it a little differently in the same eyes we're looking at it. So we'll leave it there for those three at this time, and then we'll go to the next step in June. Any other questions on that?
As soon as I find out on what city council agenda it will go on, I will let the entire commission know so that you are aware. And if the subcommittee will prepare its comments, I think that would be great.
Okay, great. Thank you. Our next item on the agenda is discussion and approval of the Arts Commission's projects in the park. This was added to our agenda, our city manager. And do you want to direct Director Alvarado, do you want to tell me who is speaking for us on this?
So sometime last week, I found out that there was going to be an item on council agenda for Art Commission projects. The Art Commission met late last week And now they're bringing forward their recommendation to the Parks and Rec Commission for these projects that will be discussed. And so I think Patrick and Shonda are both here to speak about the art projects so that they can let you know what those projects are and more information and answer questions. So Patrick, do you want to start off with?
Sure, I'd be happy to. Cynthia, are you able to pull up my presentation?
Yes.
Great. Well,
Actually, do you want, I don't know if I can, do you have it?
I'm on an iPad, so I don't.
Okay, so let me share, hang on.
If you can.
Okay.
Great. So just, I think there's a few new faces on the commission. So just so, and a refresher of who Coachella Art is, that's our volunteer arts nonprofit organization that provides no-cost art and music supplies to Coachella Valley students. So we have been, gosh, it seems almost a year ago, I guess it was about June or July during COVID that we were selected to be the artist in residence for the Parks and Rec Commission, funded through a mini grant through the Public Arts Commission. So we started our first public arts project at James O. Jesse, and Cynthia, if you can scroll down to that first image of the little tree bench. There, yeah, there was two pretty dilapidated wooden tree benches there that we sanded, refinished, and repainted into be a racetrack for some of the little kids with their little cars to go around. So that so we did two of those that took place in early August, and then we moved over to the Leisure Center, which is the next group of images. And we got some help from Director Alvarado's kids too, which was really fun that day that they stopped by to help. So there were four benches and a couple of trash receptacles in the little quad there that were in dire need of repainting. They had graffiti and gum and some dirt that was really very interesting on there. So we cleaned all those up and repainted all the four benches in the quad, 2 trash cans, and then the next slide we moved down to the that was the fourth one, and then we moved down to a couple of the concrete benches at the swim center. So we had lots of great comments from all the swimmers and all the people that were enjoying the little quad there while we were there. We were there about a month because it was the middle of summer, and so we'd start early and finish about 1 in the afternoon before it got too hot. And then we did one bench, and as you drive into the parking lot at Sunrise Park, right, kind of adjacent to the swim leisure center, which was our red, white, and blue bench, which kind of coincided with we finished I think a week before election. So that was fun. We got some help there from a couple of students at Raymond Cree Middle School that helped us with that. And then where did we go? Then we did through a request from Grace Garner, councilperson Grace Garner, we did, and her mother, who was an educator at Catherine Finchy for years, we did a really cool Dia de los Muertos altar, which also coincided, I think we did that around Election Day, which was a fun joint project. We had local community come out and bring pictures of dearly departed loved ones, flowers. We decorated the tree. I built the wood altar, which I have kept in our storage facility. So if we do want to repeat that and make that an annual thing, that's pretty easy to reassemble. I kept all the parts and pieces for that. And that was a really great community event, and had a pretty good turnout for that. And I'm sure if we do it again this year, there'll even be a better turnout. So that was a super fun project. And then we moved over to just adjacent to where we did the altar at Victoria Park. Oh, by the way, that altar was at Victoria Park. And then we painted, then for the next several months, about one bench a month. because we are volunteer based and it was summer. We were able to do one bench a month for the next few months at the playground of Victoria Park. So all 6 benches now have been painted with fun colors and abstract shapes and images at Victoria Park. And then the next few slides are just some of those. And we've had, we almost have a fan club going from some of the senior citizens that walk Victoria Park every day on their little Facebook group, which was really great. We got so many great comments from both, there were a lot of visitors to Victoria Park during COVID. A lot of families came and rented houses with little kids, and there were a couple little helpers there at that slide, at that bench. So the both residents around Victoria Park and visitors really enjoyed what we were doing with the colors and the shapes. And I brought sidewalk chalk each time, and so all the little ones would come over and do sidewalk chalk while we were painting the benches, and it was just a really great, I had a heck of a lot of fun doing it. It was exciting to do that each day. I'd show up with my little red wagon full of paint and umbrellas and supplies, and the kids would be there playing, and it was just a really great community event. So that kind of rounded out the first round of funding. We were, the Arts Commission did renew us for another round, and the plan is to head over to Ruth Hardy Park, which they have about 8 to 10 benches around their playground equipment area that are in dire need of painting. Lots of graffiti, lots of worn off paint. And so now that school is out next week, we'll be able to re-enlist some help of some students, because part of our mission is to get kids involved, to put paintbrushes in kids' hands and get them involved in these beautification projects. It's really great and rewarding for the kids to be part of that. What I did notice is that once the benches are painted, they rarely get graffitied. So I think the community respects the art, and we use really high quality paint, and so they're going to last. And I do visit them periodically with my spray bottle of cleaner and clean them off, just because I'm proud of what we did, and it's just been fun. So so the next round will next projects will start in June, and that will kind of probably take us through most of the summer, and then depending on what you folks want to do in the little subcommittee of Jody and Chuck, if we want to continue, I mean, there's plenty of parks and there's plenty of benches. We can continue this kind of ad infinitum with all of our parks, because there's Bristow Park has some benches that need some love. I know Shonda's doing some really cool stuff at Demuth. But there's certainly plenty of parks and plenty of benches to keep doing this. And I think there was just a really great support from the community. So if you'll let us, we will continue. That's my report.
Okay, thank you. Question, Commissioner Lamar?
Well, the first thing is, do you need a motion? And before we even vote on it, I'm 100% behind it. I just love it when you're driving around the city and you turn a corner and yet again, there's something else that's bright. There's a new one now. I don't know how new it is, but I just noticed it at Sunny Dunes and Palm. It's just an old utility box. And then at the bottom, it says, "This is to bring a smile to your face." It does. I'm 100% in favor of it. I think the city looks fabulous instead of a bunch of old beat up benches. It's colorful, and I'm 100% in favor of it.
Thank you, Commissioner Lamar. Yes, I would like to say just what he did. When you drive through the city, some of this, it has brought new life back to a lot of existing benches and things around here, and we notice them. We are noticing them. We're getting comments also. So then I guess, is Commissioner Caldonado, Vice Chair Caldonado bringing up a question? It's like, no?
Yeah, you know what? I think what they're doing is fantastic. I've seen a number of these benches, and they look really good. So whatever we got to do to keep this going, let's keep the ball rolling. I like it. That's my opinion.
All right, so Shonda is going to be talking about the projects that are going to be, that the Arts Commission would like to do and were discussed and approved on their behalf. So Shonda, are you ready?
Mr. Trevor, I just have a comment on these benches.
Go ahead,
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Well, I'm happy that the Arts Commission is focused on this idea of kind of functional art, and I'm glad that they are kind of keeping up. I do have concerns long term, who's going to be responsible for the maintenance of these benches. You know, the dog park fence was paid for by $100,000 of public art money, and if you go back and read in the 90s when that was created, you know, the public arts program in the city had responsibility for maintenance of that park fence as a work of art, and also the staging area around it. And, you know, over the last 20 years, it really has, public arts program of the city hasn't really kept up its obligation to maintain that art. And first, the coordinator at one point told me, I think 5 or 6 years ago, you know, at the end of the day, it's just a fence. And so I'm just curious, as we progress along, how these benches are going to be viewed. Yes, they're really cool and bright and fun, but how are they going to be maintained, and what is the obligation, you know, of the maintenance? Are they going to be painted over at some point? But I do want to point out for the record that the Public Arts Commission really, and the coordinator, they haven't really over the years taken the right responsibility for the art of the fence, because quote unquote it's just a fence. And so maybe there's been some evolution on the Arts Commission's part about how it views this kind of, you know, kind of functional art or materials that are functional being painted.
Thank you. Would maybe one of you like to address his interest concern?
Go ahead, Patrick.
Well, no, I was just going to say, since I'm not an arts commissioner, I'm just, I guess, I'm a vendor, so I'll let Shonda field that. But if you need, I do know that what we're doing was quote unquote temporary. So I assume at some point, you know, that will be addressed by the Arts Commission, but Shonda might have some more details on that.
Yes, hi. We recently approved and got a person taking care of any of the graffiti that happens on the benches. If you see any graffiti, just report it and let us know, and we'll get the graffiti taken care of. As for the other artwork, the Art Commission is in the process with a company evaluating all the artwork, taking inventory, and also maintenance on it. So if you have any concerns about a specific piece, please reach out to us and let us know so we can see where it is in the process of being tended to. And now for the other things that I was going to bring to the meeting. Do you have the pictures of the sculpture, Cynthia, so the commission can see? Thank you. So Joanna Adams, well, I'll go ahead to this one first. Okay, so this is a utility box that's located at the JOJ, the James O. Jesse Park. There was one that was done last year by a Joanna Adams, which is a girl blowing bubbles, and that got a lot of really positive feedback. So on the other side of the building, there's this one. And Tyson Knight, one of our artists that also is one of the people that repairs the benches if they get vandalized. He has submitted this drawing for a Juneteenth celebration that's going to be happening in the park in June. And he would be outlining this and having participation from the children as well as himself in painting this utility box as a community effort during the Juneteenth celebration. Next slide. This is a sculpture that was repurposed. It used to be a water fountain years ago, I believe the community said in the 80s. And then it was put in the front of the JOJ. Patrick's team put the base coat on this particular sculpture, and now Joanna Adams has submitted what we're going to do to the statue. A lack of a better word of what it's called, statue sculpture. Our timeline is to get this done before Memorial Day so the Tuskegee Airmen families can take pictures around it. Also, I don't know, to some it may look a little busy in person, it may not, but this is the person that we were working with that was an expert, that is an expert, because he's the son of a Tuskegee Airman. He signed off and approved on the design, really liked it, the art commission, everyone. Joanna Adams is hopefully going to be able to start this week so we can get the timeline ready for Memorial Day. Also with Joanna Adams, oh yes, this is the dome that's located in Demuth Park. This particular dome, we reached out to an artist, Diana, and she is renowned for doing flowers and beautiful pictures of art, of floral art. And we were proposing to have this dome, since I believe this dome was recently painted, because when I had a garden plot there, it was a different color and now it's this color. So I'm assuming it was painted. And we're hoping to put flowers around the circles, like the flower, the centers, the circles being the center of the flowers, and inside and outside. So I talked with that artist, emailed back and forth with her, and it's pretty hot, and it will be for a while. So she's proposing that she starts on this project in October. And between now and then, I should have some pictures of what this is going to look like when the project gets off the ground. But we wanted to call it to your attention and bring it up with you all, also to make sure that it was painted before, to find out what date it was painted, and also to improve the garden area. Is there another slide?
No, that's all I have, Shonda.
Okay, so in front of the Demuth office, when you're walking in to where the gym is located, there's 2 benches and 2 trash cans. And Crystal, one of your employees at Parks and Rec, she reached out to me, and I was hoping to maybe get together with her and come up with some designs, some fun designs inspired by the children of the community, another floral design, and also those benches maybe to draw attention to the community garden, which a lot of people don't know that's there. So let's see, I have one more thing. Joanna Adams will be also creating a Juneteenth coloring book for the June celebration. And at that celebration, we'd also like to do chalk paintings in the basketball court area. There's a little area next to the basketball court that that's just plain, that doesn't have a net or anything. It looks like a little court. It seems like an open area that the kids can do some activity of just chalk drawings and stuff for that celebration. And that is it. I think I covered everything.
Okay, I think you were going to ask us about a vote to continue on with this, or can you tell me what is?
Yes, for the new projects that Shonda discussed.
New projects that were discussed, that have already been started, you mean? With the
They
dome and
haven't
things?
been started.
None of these projects have been started yet. They're in the process of starting. So the Tuskegee Air sculpture can start this week as early as Wednesday. And the Juneteenth celebration stuff won't happen until June. And the benches that are in front of the Demuth Park, those can happen sooner than later, depending on when I can get in touch with Crystal and figure out the logistics for the designs for that and then submit those designs.
And those the subcommittee can take a look at and approve since they've been given the okay to work on park benches, but these bigger projects we brought back to the commission as a whole just because they deviate from the park bench project.
I make a motion to move forward and give our blessings to the Public Arts Commission to do those projects that were presented today.
I'll second it.
All right, we have a motion on the floor and we have a second. Do we have any discussion or question?
I have comments. This is Travis.
Go ahead. Go ahead, Commissioner Armstrong.
Oh, okay. Well, I appreciate the Public Arts Commission coming to us. I mean, before we were just told these things were going to happen, so I appreciate they're actually here. But, you know, really these things are in the process of happening, and it's not like a rubber stamp we're giving, but there's little leeway we have here. I mean, a proper process of collaboration and partnerships between the commission would be for public arts to take the initiative when it has these ideas to approach us much earlier in the process rather than just kind of giving these things to us and say, I just say yes because we're ready to do all these things. It's still, in my view, disrespectful to the process to not, because these things take a lot of time, right? That they could have known about this a long time ago and talked about more of this earlier on. So like I said, I mean, appreciate you asking our opinion on it at this late time, but still, I think the staff on public arts should, and the commission itself, kind of look at how it's conducting itself on these worthy projects and make them even more worthy by actually making them collaborative.
For these particular projects, I forgive your assuming that we've been planning these a long time. These haven't come into fruition. They've only come into fruition in the last 2 weeks. So I'm trying to get all this stuff approved for June, and all of this just came up within the last couple of weeks, and I've gotten this far on the project, and then I brought it to you. So Public Arts only heard about this stuff last week. The ideas came about for it the week before. Public Arts got it, and now you guys have got it. So I am not sure if you all can like make some kind of flow chart of how you want stuff to flow and to be approved. But as far as I've been informed and being a first-time commissioner, I am following the guidelines and the parameters and everything, the timeline that I'm supposed to in order to get this done.
Okay, I think most of this has been directed through our subcommittee of Commissioner Diaz and Commissioner Lamort to go along, approve, and work with you on these. It's just that this one is something I think that's just a little bigger than the norm and that they just wanted us to go on with. And I'm assuming that our subcommittee has been working with them all along. Shake your head, yes, Jody.
Yeah, the Tuskegee the sculpture is the one that needs to be approved quickest. And then we have June. Juneteenth doesn't happen until the middle of June. So I don't see how I'm rushing or what you said. I don't understand. So I just want to be able to communicate with Parks and Recs better so we can all work together and just get beautiful art in the parks.
Yeah, I think you highlighted it well, Shonda, by, saying that these have come before you guys in the last 2 weeks. And obviously we're trying to move these quickly because of, the things that are going to be happening. So, as we work on improving our collaborative relationships, hopefully we'll work on doing just better timelines in general. But I think this is the process and what it needs to look like. We just have, we're just getting things that are coming by quickly. So we're trying to get it through the process as well. So
as a commissioner, and I look to Commissioner Diaz and Commissioner Lamort, who have been the subcommittee, they proposed that, does anyone have any problem with moving forward with this at the this point and having a vote?
Well, I have a question.
then-
I have a question about the subcommittee. I thought this subcommittee was about benches. I didn't realize it had to do with all sorts of other art in the park. If that's the case, I'm wrong. But if it's not the case, then I think that the subcommittee's mission should be expanded by the commission itself.
The subcommittee was for art in the park, starting with benches, is what my notes say.
That's right.
And it was talked at that point that it would expand to other items, electrical boxes and so forth as time went on. But I do agree that we do have to expand a little bit. This was a start with this art commission, and we will be expanding our subcommittee there. Commissioner Lamarck?
Well, two things. I think we have a motion before us that we should vote on. And number two, do we need a separate motion for the Tuskegee project? It sounded to me as if they might need a special authorization for that. Is that correct?
All the projects were lumped into the one item. If for some reason somebody doesn't,
If we give approval, it's for all.
yes.
Got it. Okay. Then what's the wording? Can I move the whatever? There's a
I
word.
have you down as your motion to approve the arts projects that have been presented by Shonda on behalf of the Arts Commission. And then it was seconded, or Miss Commissioner Diaz made the motion.
I made the motion.
The second
Charlie
was by
seconded it.
Commissioner Lamort.
And Commissioner Cohen had his hand up for one more question, I believe, before we vote.
This is really just a brief comment, which is, I view it slightly different than possibly Travis does, which is our purview is what is best for the parks. In this case, I don't believe our purview should duplicate what Commissioner Favreau and others on the Arts Commission are doing. It's not for me to pass subjective opinion about what is art and what is best and what colors ought to go where and what have you. That's not I don't believe that's probably where we ought to get involved. So if the question is this a benefit to the park and helpful and appropriate as an installation in the park, that's a different question than is it good art or some other subjective matter. So I just want to make sure that we're not crossing those boundaries. I don't need to duplicate what the other committee is doing. And I do appreciate collaborating with them, and sometimes moving things along quickly when they come up quickly is a great benefit to the city and to the constituencies like JOJ and others that are going to benefit from it. So I don't want Commissioner Favreau or others to feel bad that they're coming and collaborating with us and doing their best here when it's an imperfect process to begin with. And I certainly don't want to put an opinion forward as to what is good art. That's my only comment.
Thank you very much, Commissioner Cohen. Then Director Alvarado, would you like to read what the motion on the floor is?
The motion
One more.
to approve the Arts Commission projects that will be happening in the parks at Demuth, James O. Jesse. Those are the two locations, correct, Shonda?
Yes, so far it's just the James O. Jesse and Demuth, the community garden. Yeah.
Hello, this is Commissioner Armstrong. I would like to respond to Mr. Cohen's comments. They grossly misappropriate what I said. I never said a word about we should decide on colors or things like that. I'm talking about process issue, Commissioner. I'm talking about, knowing beforehand what is happening in the parks, which is our jurisdiction. I do not appreciate anyone suggesting to the public that I am talking about what is art or what isn't art. I'm talking about the jurisdiction of the Parks and Recreation Commission and real collaboration. So I appreciate your comments. I did not say the things you said. If you could clarify or not, if you're directing those at me.
If we can stay focused on what we're trying to accomplish here.
Yes, I would like to call for a vote on the measure that's on the floor and see if it is, would that be appropriate with you, Commissioner? Director Alvarado? Can I have a show of hands? All in favor of the motion that Commissioner Diaz made, raise your hand. All opposed? I see you. Gotcha. All opposed? Abstain?
This is Travis. I'm abstaining.
I'm sorry, would you say that again?
Armstrong is abstaining.
Travis abstaining, and I'm assuming that Vice Chair Caldonado was voting, but we can't see.
Yes, I'm good.
All right. So the motion has carried that the Arts Commission can continue on with that. As we work with this, we do have Commissioner Diaz and Commissioner Lamort that have been working as a subcommittee with them to keep going on things, and I believe we still have given them the authority to move on some of these. As Commissioner Armstrong said, and this was in my notes, that we started out with the two of them, and this was on my next thing, but I think I've got to do it now. Commissioner Lamort informed me this past week that June is his last month on our commission. Therefore, he won't be on the Arts Commission at that point after June. I do need to get another person on our subcommittee for our Arts Commission. And rather than making an appointment as to someone now, if someone who is not on very many commissions or has not gotten their feet too wet on some of these things that are really a lot of fun to work on, would let me know that they would be interested, and at the next meeting, we will appoint an additional person for the art subcommittee. And in the meantime, if anyone can talk to Commissioner Lamort and to stay in another term, we can always use them. So then that motion has been carried, and we are going to move on for adding to that.
Before you move on, I just want to thank you all so much for appreciating the Stop in the Name of Love project boxes, the utility boxes that have been going up around town. That's my first project that I've launched, and I'm really excited that you all enjoy it, the citywide project that I've launched. So I appreciate it. I'm really looking forward to working with Parks and Recs, and hopefully we can figure out some kind of timeline that Magic Fairies can bring us all together and make us all cohesive. Thanks.
Thank you very much, and keep up the nice work.
Yeah,
I think John wanted to get on the Arts Commission subcommittee. Did you not, John? He was raising his hand, but
I wrote that down. I saw that too.
Cool.
We're looking for people.
I'm looking for, that would give us back to where we are. So I would really like to have John and one more that will let me know who they would like to be, and the next month we will appoint. If there are no other discussions on our Arts Commission project, thank you, both of you from the Arts Council, for joining us today and helping us move along with this. And our last item here is reports and updates from our ad hoc committees. Do we have any of our ad hoc committees that have a report to bring up at this point? I've got a couple things that I've got to throw out at you. I mentioned to you that Commissioner Lamort told me that he would not be on our commission when July comes. At the end of June, it's the end of his. Another commissioner has told me the same thing. I'm starting to get a complex, but Commissioner Cohan has informed me that he will not be upping for another reappointment. And there's several positions that he has handled also with our subcommittees that we're going to be needing to do something. One was when we were talking about the subcommittee for the naming. He has been working with that. I'm just looking down through. David is also on our pickleball, which is not, and those are the two that you're on at the present time, Commissioner Cohen?
I think that, and possibly also the Measure J.
That you're correct. Oh, that was up here at the top, and Measure J.
Why don't we put a list of all the committees that we have together and where the vacancies will be? And then we can send it out with our next meeting agenda so that people have time to review what is available and where they might want to plug in.
Okay, I will get that, my notes off you on that. But I want to say thank you to those two people who have been with us, and there will be interviews coming up in the next few weeks to fill those positions, and we'll be moving on from there. As we also move on at that point, next month at our meeting is the time for election of our chair and our vice chair. So I need you to look around the room and think who you would like to see take over our commission as our chair and as our vice chair. Johnny has been by my side the entire year and a half, almost 2 years we've been doing this together, and has been a big help. We meet with Cynthia and he's always there with us, but next month is our election that we will be doing, and so come with the names of who you would like to nominate for these positions at our next meeting. This portion of the meeting then is set aside for brief general comments and issues of concern from the members of our commission and items for our future meetings. So we're going to go around the room and see who has something that they would like to add discussion for our agenda. I'm going to start at the bottom of my screen, and that would be with Commissioner Armstrong.
Hi. My only comment is, the ones I already made, is that, you know, when we do the process of picking commissioners, I mean, I hope the city, if the city manager is still listening, I mean, every year he talks about diversifying these commissions. It's really not really happening too much, especially at the higher level commissions or the whole city council interviews. There's this process that kind of disadvantage minority candidates, and I just think we as a commission maybe can do our part, and I need to do this as well. It's reaching out to other people in our community to get them to come on our commissions, because right now I don't feel our commissions really reflect the city of Palm Springs.
Thank you, Commissioner Armstrong. I sat on those interviews for the last couple of years with them, and we don't get a big variety of applications, but it is always nice to have some. The 760, is that a commissioner, or the 409-7074, is that a commissioner's phone?
No, they're just,
Okay.
they're a guest.
All right, then let's move on to Commissioner Crawford. Do you have a commissioner's comment to make?
Yeah, I just wanted to make a comment. I'm not sure if Ellen is on. Just to say that I was still interested in the esports youth programs, seeing if we could use some of that at Desert Highland, maybe work in partnership with the Palm Springs Unified School District to see. I know we've got a computer lab up there, but to see if we could kind of work on some of those programs.
Okay. No, Commissioner Ellen Goodman is not with us today, has another commitment, so we'll move that on to her. Commissioner Alcorn.
Yeah, good afternoon, everybody. I'm pretty quiet here, sitting here listening. So I want to bring up for maybe a future commission meeting, but I took a walk through one of our local parks that gets overlooked actually quite often. It's our local skate park with my daughter. And, you know, currently right now they have 3 burnt out lights for their facility outdoors. They've been broken into twice, and one of their windows, our facility's emergency people went over there and blocked it, but they took their own wood off one of their displays and used that for the cover to cover up the window. You know, and it's just kind of, out of all the parks, you know, I mean, all the parks could have a lot of attention, but I think that one gets overlooked. You know, we could use better shade structure there. We could use a lot of, you know, little tweaks, because it's a beautiful facility right next to our beautiful swim center, you know. And I think the Civic Center Park right now, that whole area is getting a lot of attention. But I think you know, it's something I think we need to address and look at, especially the lighting. That's my biggest concern because it's dangerous. Once the sun goes down, you know, there's a lot of gaps and empty locations there that somebody can get hurt. I just don't want to see that come back to us with some other issue. Other than that, I just want to say, Cynthia, you and your crew are doing a great job. They just got throwing a lot of stuff with, you know, reopening, 4th of July, this and that. I love my local Parks and Rec, and I'm here to support you guys in any which way, and you're doing an awesome job. Other than that, that's all I got. Have a good night, everybody.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Diaz?
Yeah, you know, Commissioner Alcorn made a point that I was going to bring up. However, I believe that the skate park is under like a subcontract, but I could be wrong. And I don't know, it's part of the park, and I'm not really sure where we fall and who needs to fix that, but I agree. I've noticed that as well. And I'm just thinking, you know, some of the commissioners, you know, they're leaving us. You guys are super integral, and then listening to us say, you know, we're going to need to recruit some people. And, you know, Travis said he's guilty too. I mean, we need to reach out to a variety of folks that will better represent what the population is here. And I as well need to get my feet on the ground and get busy trying to recruit folks. And I know I always have a question as to who is it that interviews the commissioners, and just so I don't know that it's any of my business who gets picked or not. I just kind of wonder what that whole process is like. I was just wondering that. Thank you.
I'll give you the council has appointed 2 council people to do the interviews along with the chair. And currently this year, it's councilperson Lisa Middleton and councilperson Dennis Wood do the interviewing along with, and I sit in with them. And then they make the recommendation selection to the council, and the council approves the appointment. Does that answer your question?
So our own commission has no say in any of the decisions, yeah?
I sat on the interviews, and they asked me what I would like of the people, but I don't have a vote. I just have an opinion.
Okay, but sometimes an opinion is more important than a vote. Gotcha.
Okay.
Thanks.
And that's why sometimes I ask other commissioners, you know, do you have anyone that you think of that we should be looking at for our commissioners? Because when it comes up, yes, I can, you know, I tried last year and I was ignored, but I did get to make an opinion this last time. Commissioner Lamart.
Well, I'm giggling to myself because I have been asking people, wouldn't you like to get on the Park and Rec Commission? Because I'm leaving. Unfortunately, they're all old white guys. So that doesn't do much for diversity. But I want to really thank and give congratulations to Cynthia. I think she's doing a marvelous job. I mean, she got thrown a bomb at the last council meeting, and she had to run with it. And so I really am impressed with how you keep the activity going, no matter what. But I want to make one other thing, maybe for the next meeting. I don't know if it's an item or not. I know that it's staffing and money, but here's this gentleman who has, for a year and a half, has been asking the commission to please open up the swim lanes later in the evening. And so I just think it should be addressed. Maybe just 2 days a week. So I would make a suggestion that we talk about that staffing to accommodate people who are working. I mean, I'm lucky enough that I'm retired, but folks that have to wait till 5 to go exercise, I mean, I just think we should try to accommodate them. I won't get into all my thanks and what a wonderful job this was. I'll save that till June. Thank you.
Okay. And then one of the selections, you already had one person that we did get, is not an old white man, Jerry Alcorn just spoke. He was one that I was very high on and got to recommend. And the other one will go to John, who will give us his comments at this time, and I'm glad to see him here.
Hi, everyone. I have actually reached out to people that I know and said, listen, I know I'm only on this commission a month, but if you really want to get involved in your community, this is a great way to do it. I mean, you can see how the wheels work. You'll learn something maybe. Maybe you'll even get out and meet your neighbors. Who knows? But regardless of all of that, I have now tasked myself into going to the parks more often. And so I signed up for the little reservation system, which I didn't even know existed for Ruth Hardy Park tennis. I went there to play tennis and somebody told me, and I was like, since when can you do that? So I actually did it. I reserved a court. I went there, played tennis for an hour, and got kicked off by somebody who had a reservation right after me. So I guess it's working. Anyway, I'm happy to join any commission. Obviously, I don't want to, stretch myself too thin. The dog park subcommittee is great for me because I have 2 dogs. The arts commission is great for me because I took art classes in college. So, those are 2 good fits for me. I think that, if I see people out there, that helps me. I can tell you when I went to play tennis and those guys kicked me off the court, I was like, you realize you're kicking off a Parks and Rec Commission dude, right? They, of course, just all laughed, which is what you should do, right? So it was, but at least we're out there then. Like, we have a face, we have a name. People know it's not just like our city council making decisions, even though, yes, I agree with some of the comments that I heard tonight as well. There you go.
Thank you. Commissioner Cohen.
Thanks. It's been an honor. I know that I thought this was actually my last meeting, but like Commissioner Lamort and I will be showing up in June as well. Just so that my other commissioners know, I'm not running away because of anything bad that's happening on the commission or anything like that. I have other familial obligations and business obligations that I have to say priority. I'm actually speaking to you from Philadelphia, where it's after 10 p.m. at the moment, because I have an aging parent here and taking care of things. So that's just taking up more time. So because of that, that's really the only reason I'm moving on. But it's been an honor to serve, and I've enjoyed it. It doesn't mean we've always agreed with one another. The sparring is, I think, healthy that we do, but more often than not, we do agree. And I would say that the reason that I came on the commission and how I did it was because I was passionate about what I was doing in the parks. At the time, it was pickleball, but I use the parks for lots of things. And a suggestion was made by the then chairman of the council, Les Young. Hey, if you feel so passionate, why don't you get involved in the parks and come on the commission? And I did, or I applied for it and then was fortunate enough to get chosen. And I would just suggest that the users of our parks, our citizens, who are the most passionate users of our parks, are the ones who have the greatest stakes. I think we will find people there, like myself, who will say, I'll give some service to the community and I will do this because I feel strongly about it. So I don't know if that's putting up some additional signs at the parks or reaching out to those constituencies, tennis, pickleball, softball, dog parks, all those things. But I think that's where we will probably have the best luck finding people than are, in my case, just like Commissioner Lamort's, the old white guys that I know who could maybe say yes. Anyway, I won't prolong it. Thank you. It's been an honor, and I'll get to say a thank you again in another month.
I believe that ends up all of our comments. Does anyone else have a final one? If not,
Did we do? Oh, we did. Okay, just kidding.
Hey, I'll do something.
oh, I'm sorry, Vice Chair Caldonato.
Just a quick couple things. John, welcome aboard. It's gonna be a pleasure having you with us. And David and Charles, man, I'm gonna miss you two knuckleheads. You guys have been great. David, Charles, you guys have really put everything in it the past 2 years here. And I personally want to thank you, and I hate to see you go. But I'm sure, David, I'll be seeing you around for sure, doing a little hiking, maybe some pickleball. So great meeting. And yes, we're going to have some differences, but that's what it's all about. You have to have some differences. We're not going to be sheep. It's just going to happen. So good to see everybody, and looking forward to next month.
Thank you, Vice Chair Caldonado. If we have no more comments at this time or questions from, I would like to ask for a motion that we adjourn our meeting. It is 7:11. Commissioner Alcorn makes a motion to adjourn, and Commissioner Cohen has seconded it. All in favor? I would like to announce opposed. I would like to announce then that adjourn this meeting until our next meeting, June 28th, 2021. Again, via Zoom, unless we have some news, and we'll let you know. Thank you all very much.
Ciao.